Mud swallowed their boots with every step. Master Sergeant Jackson Harlan gritted his teeth, half dragging Corporal Davis through the steaming jungle of Drecker's 4. Plasma fire crackled in the distance. The sky had gone blood orange, not from sunset, but from burning foliage and ruptured atmosphere vents. The recon mission had gone sideways the moment they stepped into Sector 14. "We're gonna die out here," Davis mumbled, barely conscious. "No," Jax growled. "Not until I say we do." He didn't mention the shrapnel buried in his side. Or the 3 men they'd already left behind, 1 vaporized, 2 torn apart by a cloaked drone ambush. Only 6 of them remained, including Jax, all bleeding, limping, or worse. No medevac yet. No Terran air support. Just jungle and death. Finally, after what felt like hours, the evac shuttle punched through the canopy with a screech. Jax shoved Davis inside, then collapsed beside him. That was the last thing he remembered. He woke up in a cold, sterile room reeking of antiseptic and condescension. Outpost 9's med bay wasn't Terran. Sleek walls hummed with alien alloy patterns. The lights were too bright, too clinical. Machines beeped in unfamiliar tones. And standing near the bed, with his arms crossed and a smirk stretched across his lipless face, was a Tsar Dominion officer. "Welcome back, Primitive." Jax didn't reply. He looked around. 3 of his squad were in recovery pods. Rodriguez's arms were burned and cybergrafted. Tran coughed blood from punctured lungs. Meyer's leg had been replaced from the knee down with polymer bone. They were alive. Barely. "You're guests of the Galactic hegemony," the Tsar officer said, voice smug. "Try not to drool on the equipment." He turned and strode out. Behind him, one of the younger alien soldiers laughed as he passed Jax's bed. 3 days passed. Jax healed fast, too fast. Alien tech worked miracles, but it came with a side of mockery. Every meal tray came with an offhand joke. Every medical checkup included a slur. They were called Terran fossils, wet meat relics, and worse. On day 4, while Rodriguez struggled to grip a cup with his new hands, 2 alien privates walked by. "Is that the one who got his whole squad wiped by bushes?" one said in their clicking dialect. The translator chip mangled the sarcasm but not the intent. Jax didn't rise to it. Not yet. Instead, he made a note of their patrol pattern. Their names. Their weapons. He hadn't stopped being a soldier. He was just pretending to be a patient. The incident happened on day 6. The squad was gathered in the common bay. Jax had them sitting up, stretching, whatever they could manage without tearing stitches. Then it happened, projected on the main holowall, security footage. It showed the jungle battle. The team's collapse. Rodriguez screaming as flames engulfed his arms. Davis dragging Meyer. And Jax, on one knee, firing blindly into trees as drones swarmed. The footage was spliced together like a joke reel. It was playing on loop. Laughter filled the air. Alien soldiers stood around, watching, snickering. One of them even clapped. A Tsar lieutenant leaned in and said, "You call that elite? This is why humans will always be cannon fodder." Rodriguez turned pale. Tran stood up, then collapsed coughing. Meyer stared at the wall without blinking. Jax didn't move. He just watched. Absorbed it. Let the shame crawl into his bones, then hardened it. Later that night, he sat alone in the corner of the infirmary, running a scalpel between his fingers. Private Malik, the human tech assigned to base maintenance, approached quietly. He was young, barely 20, more wires than nerves. "They shouldn't have done that," Malik said, hesitant. "No," Jax answered, without looking up. "They really shouldn't have." Malik hesitated, then slid a data chip onto Jax's table. "What's this?" "Access maps. Supply node overlays. Quiet systems not on the main grid." Jax looked up. Malik's face was stiff, nervous, but resolute. "I saw what they broadcast," Malik said. "I don't care what the treaty says. That was a firing squad disguised as peace." Jax said nothing. Malik leaned closer. There's something else. I overheard Threx, the base commander. He's planning a live-fire integration exercise. Says it'll be a good way to clean up Terran waste. It's scheduled for 3 days from now. Your squad's the demo unit. Jax's fingers curled around the scalpel until his knuckles turned white. They're not just laughing, Malik whispered. They're going to kill you. Legally. Jax stood up slowly, despite the pain. His fractured ribs protested, but he ignored them. He walked over to his squad's beds. Rodriguez opened one eye. What's up, boss? Jax's voice was calm. Cold. They're planning to put us down like wounded dogs. Tran coughed, wiping blood off his mouth. We're not even armed. Jax met their eyes one by one. We've got 3 days. That's more than we've ever needed. Meyer looked up. What's the plan? Jax smiled, not with his mouth, but his eyes. We show them why humans bury their dead with honor, and enemies without ceremony. Ready for Chapter 2? Night on Outpost 9 wasn't quiet. It hummed, a low, constant pulse from its alien systems. Like a predator breathing while it slept. Inside the infirmary, the lights dimmed automatically. Cameras blinked red in each corner. Silent, watching. But the Green Berets weren't asleep. Master Sergeant Jax Harlan stood barefoot, wrapped in a thermal blanket, staring at the holographic map Malik had provided. His ribs throbbed with every breath. His mind didn't care. 3 days. That's all they had. 3 days before a training exercise turned into a culling. He turned to his men. We're not escaping, he said. We're making a statement. Kowalski chuckled, voice rasping through cracked lips. Damn right. Tran sat cross-legged, oxygen patch on his chest. We don't even have real weapons. Rodriguez flexed his new grafted hands, metal fingers clicking softly. We don't need them. Jax nodded. No guns. No drones. Just 6 broken men who refused to die on someone else's schedule. The plan started with the infirmary's waste chute. Malik had shown them its internal override, usually used for cleaning fluid drainage, not crawling soldiers. But with a few tools and a lot of pain, it became their escape tunnel. On the first night Davis slid through. Still limping from a crushed ankle, he pulled himself across the maintenance corridor like a man possessed. He reached the unused storage wing, hidden from daily patrols. That would become their nest. Each night, one of them followed. Quietly. Carefully. Leaving behind biomimicking heat packs in their beds to fool scanners. Jax was last. As he pulled himself into the cold corridor, something in him clicked. He was no longer recovering. He was hunting. Day 2. The storage wing was a graveyard of forgotten tech, obsolete plasma rifles, rusted exosuits, cracked visor helmets. Junk to the aliens. Gold to humans. Rodriguez worked silently, disassembling a busted drone into motion sensor tripwires. Meyer fashioned a spear from a broken force stand and sharpened the end with a stolen plasma scalpel. Tran rewired a cleaning bot into a mobile flashbang. Davis organized medical narcotics by label color. You'd be amazed what 4 ounces of this crap does to a bloodstream, he muttered. Kowalski sat cross-legged, tying surgical tubing into slingshot cords. We're fighting space marines with hospital trash, he said, smirking. God, I love being human. Jax stood in the center, cataloging, sketching movement patterns, and matching alien shift rotations with vulnerabilities. Malik sent in daily updates via a hidden datapad. The alien patrols were relaxed, overconfident. No one suspected the dying patients were forming a kill team. That arrogance would cost them. Later that night, Jax took Meyer aside. They sat in darkness, the soft buzz of a flickering panel above them. You sure about your leg? Jax asked. Meyer tapped the synthetic knee. Hurts like hell. But I can still kneel. I can still aim. That's enough. You don't need to prove anything. Meyer's voice dropped. They laughed at Rodriguez's screams. Jax? I'm not dying in a hospital gown so they can chuckle again. Jax nodded. That was enough. Morning of day 3. The message came in. Live Fire Joint Exercise approved by Galactic Command. Participants, Terran Recovery Unit Alpha. It was signed by Commander Threx himself. They had less than 20 hours. No time left for finesse. They began Phase 1 that afternoon. While a medic drone rolled into the infirmary with 4 bags, Kowalski's rigged magnet pulse shut it down mid-path. Rodriguez and Davis intercepted it, removed its casing, and hardwired its flight panel into a simple remote trigger. Now they had eyes, an overhead scout. Jax used it to map the training arena, an enclosed chamber with synthetic terrain, used to show off alien unit efficiency. The walls were lined with viewers, commanders, and guests. The wounded humans were to be the opposing force. Threx's idea of a joke. They decided to make it unfunny. That night, Jax called the squad together. No escape. No mercy, he said. We hit hard, fast. 1 shot per man, then move. They'll expect us to panic. Instead, we disappear into their own maze. Davis grinned. Jungle rules. Rodriguez added. No one sees the knife until it's in their throat. Exactly, Jax said. We don't fight to win. We fight to make sure they never try this again. A moment of silence passed between them. Then Tran asked quietly, You think Earth will hear about this? Jax shook his head. I don't care if they do. Final preparations began. They hollowed out wall panels in the exercise arena's side corridor using surgical lasers. They planted makeshift explosives, pressure packs laced with cleaning gel, lithium shavings, and flammable antiseptic foam. Meyer hid tripwires in synthetic vines. Tran set a proximity flash rig to blind sensors. Each man had a task. Each knew it could be their last. But none hesitated. Just before lights out, Malik entered the wing one last time. I shouldn't be here, he said, handing over a compact pulse disruptor. They'll court-martial me if they find out. You'll be fine, Jax said. You're the only reason we have a fighting chance. Malik hesitated, then asked, Why not wait? Request an appeal? Call Earth Command? Jax looked at him. Because the people who'd answer that call aren't the ones bleeding in this room. Malik understood. He left without another word. Jax lay down on the cold floor, hands behind his head. Above him, alien machines hummed with indifferent rhythm. Beyond the walls, soldiers sharpened their knives and polished their rifles, laughing, no doubt. But he wasn't thinking about them. He was thinking about Earth. About campfires, silence, the calm before a storm. He whispered, Tomorrow they meet the kind of broken that bites back. The arena lights buzzed to life with surgical clarity. Steel walls shimmered with simulated humidity as the holographic jungle bloomed into existence. Synthetic vines, heat-emitting stones, and artificial underbrush configured to mimic Treacherous 4. It was all a lie. Just like the training exercise. Master Sergeant Jax Harlan crouched behind a raised tree root, hard hammering once, not from fear, but calculation. His ribs were bandaged tight under repurposed armor plating made from scavenged drone hulls. He didn't look like a patient anymore. Neither did the others. Kowalski lay flat on a high beam above the arena floor, makeshift spear in hand. Rodriguez and Davis hid in a shallow depression behind a cluster of foam boulders, one trigger finger twitch away from their tripwired explosives. Meyer hunkered beside the east wall, plasma scalpel in one hand, pressure mine in the other. Tran sat in plain sight, gasping, doubled over the bait. Above them, in the observation deck, Commander Threx and a cluster of Galactic hegemony officers leaned over glass railings. They sipped nutrient drinks and chuckled. Let's see how long the Earth beasts last, Threx said. An alarm sounded, shrill and final. Begin simulation. Jax moved first. With a slight nod to Davis, the first rigged drone activated, flying a slow arc over the arena. Alien sensors locked onto it immediately, assuming it was surveillance support. But the drone wasn't watching. It was jamming. The moment it passed over the central cluster of vines, alien helmets began to flicker. HUD stuttered. Targeting systems blinked. Optical tracking glitched. Within seconds, the elite squad of Tsar troopers lost visual sync. Rodriguez whispered, "Showtime." The first kill was silent. An alien soldier approached Tran, laughing as he raised his shock baton. "You don't even stand." Tran rolled aside, pain painting his face, but his hand was steady. He pressed a concealed switch. Flash burst. A repurposed cleaning bot flared blinding white behind the trooper, who staggered, stunned. That's when Meyer struck. The plasma scalpel carved across the alien's exposed throat. No scream. Just a gurgle and a thud. Two moving north. Davis hissed over the short-range comm Malik had embedded in their bandages. "Let them," Jax replied. The two aliens advanced cautiously, training rifles leveled. They moved in perfect formation, disciplined, clinical. Efficient. But not human. As they stepped through the overgrowth, Kowalski dropped from the ceiling with all the weight his frame could offer. His spear punched through one trooper's chest. The other spun, ready to fire, but Davis's explosive charge detonated from behind the rock cluster. The alien's body arced through the air before landing limp beside its partner. In the control deck, Threx straightened. "What is this?" he growled. A younger officer frowned. "Sir, they're coordinating. That wasn't random. I want visuals re-established. Shut down the jamming." But Malik had embedded redundancies. Every time the system tried to reboot visuals, the drone looped it back into static. The only clear footage was from thermal sensors, and the heat signatures danced in loops, copied from old recordings. Phantoms. Decoys. "Sir," another officer warned. "We're losing them one by one." Threx's fists clenched. "Send the elite unit. End this farce." Back in the arena, the final act was about to begin. 6 alien commandos entered from the northern hatch, fully armored, genetically enhanced, cybernetically rigged. Tsar Hegemony's finest. Jax didn't blink. Time to vanish. He dropped a smoke charge from a modified oxygen tank. The arena filled with thick haze. They scattered. Kowalski took the rafters. Rodriguez and Tran slipped along the rear trench. Meyer limped west. Jax remained central. The Tsar moved in precision lines, clearing each quadrant. Their helmets adjusted for visibility, compensating for haze. They expected humans to run. Hide. Die. They didn't expect chaos. Rodriguez's tripwire activated beneath the 3rd Commando's boot, launching a sharpened med tray at 80 km per hour. It lodged in the alien's throat with a wet snap. Tran rolled beneath another, and jammed a syringe of muscle relaxant into its exposed hip. The alien twitched, dropped, and seized. Davis finished it with a crushed panel across the skull. Jax waited in silence as the last 3 advanced. He stepped into view. Bloodied. Ribs wrapped. Eyes steady. "Come get me!" One charged. Jax sidestepped, caught its arm, and slammed the pressure mine against its shoulder. The blast shredded its chest plate. A second alien hesitated, then Kowalski dropped on it from above, driving both into the dirt with bone-cracking force. Only one remained. It backed up, weapon raised, scanning wildly. Jax emerged from the haze behind him. "I thought we were supposed to be the ones running." He crushed the alien's trachea with a single punch to the neck. Up in the control room, panic finally surfaced. They're gone," someone whispered. Threx stared at the kill display. All red? His soldiers. And the humans? Still moving. Still breathing. One officer turned to him. "Sir, what are your orders?" Threx didn't answer. He stormed from the deck, eyes burning. Back in the arena, the smoke began to clear. Jax walked among the corpses. Every breath burned. Every step ached. But he was still upright. The squad regrouped, bleeding, battered but alive. Meyer slumped beside a fallen alien and muttered. "They expected patience." Rodriguez wiped blood from his face. "They got predators." Kowalski spat on a corpse. Laugh at that. Jax didn't speak. He looked up at the deck window where Threx had stood. He's coming, he said. And when he does, we finish it. The base sirens screamed across Outpost 9, echoing through sterile halls like dying animals. Klaxons pulsed red. Locks clicked into place. The simulation arena shut down, sealing the dead inside. But Jax and his team had already moved on. The escape tunnel they'd prepped now ran hot with adrenaline and blood. 6 wounded humans, carrying what they could, crawling upward through dim-lit shafts toward one destination, the observation deck. Jax led them. Behind him, Kowalski grunted, dragging Davis, whose leg had seized. Meyer pressed his back to the wall, reloading a stolen energy pistol with shaking fingers. Tran whispered directions, map committed to memory. Rodriguez carried the last charge, improvised, volatile, enough to breach alien alloy if placed just right. They didn't speak unless it mattered. Every breath counted. Commander Threx stood in his war room now, surrounded by silence. Only 5 officers remained. The rest had fled, faked injuries, or were simply gone. He watched the carnage replay in real time through auxiliary feeds, their finest soldiers, slaughtered by injured Terrans. Not elite. Not clean. Not glorious. Ragged. Brutal. Human. This is not a war, he muttered. It's an infection. He activated his personal weapon cache, twin plasma blades and a thermal carbine. He didn't wait for backup. He would deal with the humans himself. The blast rocked the hallway outside the deck. Flame and smoke ruptured the wall as Rodriguez's charge blew through the final bulkhead. Screams echoed. Shrapnel danced across the floor. The team poured in. 2 alien guards raised rifles, but Kowalski tackled one through the glass railing. They crashed down onto the deck below in a spray of blood and glass. Davis, despite his limp, snapped a chair leg in half and drove it into the second guard's throat. Jax moved forward, scanning. Clear. They advanced to the central command platform, where an alien aide cowered beneath the table. Jax didn't look at him. We're not here for you. Then the doors at the far end hissed open. Threx stepped through. Alone. He didn't speak. He didn't sneer. He just activated his blades, twin crescents of glowing plasma. Jax motioned the team back. He's mine. The others didn't argue. This wasn't about tactics anymore. This was personal. Jax removed his makeshift chest plate and tossed it aside. Breathing was difficult. His ribs hadn't healed. His arm was barely mobile. But his stance was steady. Threx moved with precision, years of ceremonial combat, alien formality embedded in every step. He struck. Jax ducked. A blade sliced across his shoulder. Burned flesh filled the air. He countered, punching low. Threx staggered. The second blade missed Jax's throat by inches. They circled. You're dying, Threx said flatly. Been dying since I stepped on this rock. Jax shot back. Doesn't mean I'm quitting. Another flurry. Jax blocked with a metal panel ripped from the wall. Threx's blade cut it in 2. The tip grazed Jax's cheek. Blood ran, hot and fast. Jax tackled him. They slammed into the floor, wrestling for leverage. Threx elbowed Jax in the ribs. He heard something crack. Pain lit his skull. But he didn't let go. He headbutted Threx. Once. Twice. The alien reeled. Jax grabbed the severed edge of the panel and drove it upward into Threx's side, just beneath the armor plate. The blade punched deep. Threx gasped. Jax leaned close. That's for every laugh. He yanked the metal free. Threx dropped, choking. Alive. But ruined. The squad moved in slowly, weapons still raised. Meyer limped beside Jax. You should have killed him. Jax looked down. No. Let him explain to his superiors how 6 dying humans shredded his elite command. He turned to the aides still huddled nearby. Send this feed to every Dominion channel. Every system. Every officer who ever said we were obsolete. The 8 scrambled to comply. The footage rolled unedited. Raw. Human rage in full. Evac arrived 30 minutes later. Terran Command's emergency beacon, sent by Malik, had finally broken through the Dominion's local interference. As the gunships descended, Jack stood in the landing zone, bloodied, barely upright. Rodriguez helped keep him from tipping over. A major stepped out, helmet under his arm. "My God," he whispered. "We got your signal. We thought you were." Jax cut him off. "Dead?" "Not yet." Behind him, Kowalski helped Tran onto a stretcher. Meyer collapsed into a med chair. Davis gave a 2-finger salute with a broken hand. The major looked around. "Where's the rest of the garrison?" Jax glanced toward the burning deck tower. "Ask him." He nodded at Threx, strapped to a field chair, arms bound, eyes empty. As the shuttle lifted, Jax sat beside the viewport. He didn't speak for a long time. Rodriguez finally broke the silence. "Think they'll try something like this again?" Jax shook his head. "They'll remember what happens when they laugh at the wounded." He leaned back, eyes closing. "For us, the war's never been about pride. It's about survival. They never understood that." Rodriguez nodded. "Until now." The shuttle roared toward the stars. And behind them, the echo of human defiance scorched its place in galactic memory.